Investigation against an online gaming app has forced ED, the Enforcement Directorate, to a 400 crore fraud involving Chinese nationals. Now, the ED has now frozen the accounts of some Chinese nationals linked to the online gaming app, Fiewin, and there is a sum of about 25 crore that has been frozen. The app, initially presented as a legitimate platform for earning money through games, was found to be a scam. What we understand is that Fiewin app gained traction by promising users an opportunity to earn money easily by playing mini games. New users could quickly generate an account and begin participating in the app's activities. They also had an option to top up, and their in-app balance would keep growing through various payment methods. But once the users' accounts had a reasonable amount of funds, the app stopped allowing them to withdraw the funds. Now, in the last few years, we've seen a number of such instances where people have been duped by online but offshore and illegit gambling apps. So clearly there's a difference between the offshore apps and the online apps. So we need to understand that. But clearly, what are the safeguards that are needed here while we ensure that we don't vilify the rightful apps, considering that this is a growing sector and this is also a sector where a lot of creativity blooms. So clearly, to understand all of that, joining me now is Kaushal Bheda, who is a director of Pelorus Technologies, Advanced Solutions for Intelligence and Law Enforcement Agencies. Sir, thank you so much for joining us on NDTV. First of all, explain to us, how do scams like these occur? What could be reasonable safeguards so that there is no criminalization, at the same time there's no over-regulation, the sector grows, the sector is not penalized, but at the same time people are protected?
Thanks for having me on. Can you hear me well?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so these are super large-scale organized crypto scams, right? Which either originate from China or they're being done by Chinese nationals who are operating out of Southeast Asia. By the way, interestingly, like, the people who are scamming may also be victims, because they might be victims of trafficking. So there you have victims on two ends. One side, you have victims where people are getting scammed out of their funds or money, and then the other side, there's victims of trafficking who are kept in compounds, human rights abuses. There's a UN report in 2023 talking about that, and you can read up that. So the scams are enormous, super organized. The numbers we're talking about is like 80,000 plus crores in a year. How does this happen? These guys have perfected the art of scamming. They play on your emotion, be it like pig butchering or love scams, where they use the emotion of love, or in this case, when we talk about the gaming apps, it's greed, where one, they gain trust. After they gain your trust, they extract money, first small amounts, then larger amounts. And once they've extracted enough money, they disappear.
Right.
So by the way, so this is the front end, right? This is what happens to the victim. On the back end, you have a layered approach where you have L1 accounts, which are mule accounts, transferring money to L2 accounts, and then finally to a crypto exchange out of the country.
But sir, the ED, as part of its investigation, also discovered that the app was part of a larger cross-border criminal network, and there are several cryptocurrency wallets, and all of them seem to be creating this complex web of transactions, which means that there is detection and tracing, but there are larger challenges because these are cross-border crimes. What are the challenges, even for law enforcers when they investigate crimes like this?
Okay, so multiple jurisdictions. Firstly, given the cryptocurrency, given the anonymity that it comes with, being a public ledger, but everything is just a number. Like the wallets and the transaction hashes are numbers. Multiple jurisdictions. The time taken to investigate such cases versus the time taken to siphon off funds. Siphoning off funds will happen in minutes. But these scammers would make it so difficult for an investigating officers, because they would use what are known as tumblers or mixers, which essentially like mix all the transactions, making it more difficult for an IO to find out which is a legitimate transaction, or actually who's the sender, who's the receiver. Then there are cross crypto transactions, which move funds across different cryptocurrencies. So that makes it more difficult. There are privacy coins that are at play. Worse still, people using AI to open mule accounts. So, people using deepfake KYCs in banks to open the mule account. So all of this presents like a larger challenge, especially for cross-border heists like these.
Right. So being safe and cautious is probably the only way forward, and also being informed. Thank you, Mr. Peda, for joining us. That's all we have for you in this show.